Good morning, friends. So now we'll be talking about sqoop. Let me start the WebEx session also, and then we will we'll start working on wherever we have stopped earlier. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. Please confirm that you guys can see my screen, and also you guys can hear me. I'm starting recording. Okay, one more thing I want to make sure is let me launch this to make sure that they can see me over there also. Yes, it seems to be fine. Now I'm starting recording and then we will take it from here. So earlier we were talking about sqoop import, how to troubleshoot the issues and all. And unfortunately that session got abruptly stopped because of planned outage. Place, it was not communicated to me, and that's where there was a gap. And yesterday I was struggling with my Mac to take the backup. That's why I didn't take the yesterday's session. So we'll continue wherever we stopped earlier. We were talking about the sqoop import, how it actually runs within the yarn framework, and then how to troubleshoot the issue if there is any error at the time of sqoop. 1 minute. Okay, it is here. Okay. 1 minute. I think again. Are you guys able to hear me clearly? Because it seems again there is some issue with the network. Okay. Yeah, I know that. Now it should be better. Now you might be able to hear me clearly. Is it better, Ravindra? Speed is fine. It's giving 13.25 megabytes. Is it clear now, Ravindra? Hello, guys, is it clear? So bear with me for 2 days out. I think still there are some issues. Now it is taking very long time to refresh this window. Okay, fine. Yeah, it should be fine now, Ravindra. Yeah, it should be fine now. Is it fine? Is it fine? What about other folks? Are you guys hear me clearly or no? Okay, so let's proceed. Okay, for this session, I'll be stock exchange data. Okay, so here's first thing you need to understand is import runs the sqoop import runs based on map reduce. So here I am saying high over white because there is already data in that. I just want to not high wall. I have to set delete target directory. It will delete and reload. So when actually when we run sqoop import, first it will execute the min max. It's here I have used the number of splits as 8. It will give a URL to track. Okay. Again, it uses yarn framework to execute. So here you have to go to the browser and paste that URL and hit enter. We'll go to this proxy server. I think I just pasted it when it is about to complete. That's why it looked weird. Once it is completed, it will take to the job history. Then we can actually go to the logs. Sometimes when the MapReduce is running, because of some issues, it will fail. And the way you should troubleshoot is explain here, and errors will not. It will only say sqoop job is failed. So if sqoop job is failed and if the issue is not clear here, you have to go to the job URL. If it turned out, it will obviously complete very quickly. And once it is completed, whatever URL you paste, you copy there, you paste it. If it is completed, it will take to the job history server. Otherwise, it will get the information while the job is running. Here you can see, I'm zooming here a little bit. Under task type, you have map and reduce. Sqoop is primarily map only jobs. There won't be any reducers associated with it. And you will see how many tasks it is supposed to execute and how many are complete. Okay. Bottom, it will give few more details, how many attempts it have done. And sometimes what will happen, it might fail for a couple of times and it might proceed further. If there is a temporary hardware failure or some temporary issue, the tasks, and then there will be completed tasks. As long as, even if you see failures or killed, as long as the successful is there total. Okay, but if successful is not same as total, that means there could be some issues, tasks due to which the entire import job is failed. It will retry 4 times. Even if one task is failing, it will retry 4 times. It will fail the job completely, and then it will not import any data. Whatever is staged will be deleted. Okay. Even if one task fails 4 times, the entire job will be marked as failed and they will not see any data in the target directory. Here everything is showing as successful. If there is failed, some numbers are failed and you have to click on that, and then it will filter out for the failed tasks. You can click on those things and you can get the details. So as we don't have failed tasks, I am actually going to successful here. And in the successful, we see the task category. Okay, and the node on which it is running. I saw someone asking a question. I will get back to the question in a moment. Okay. Click on logs, and it will give all the details here. Okay, if you want full log, you can click here for the full log. You will see the exceptions in this section, and then you will realize what is the actual error that is causing the issue. So this is how you should troubleshoot in case of any issues. You have to go to the task level logs to see what is the issue that is failing the job, and you have to take the remedy action. Okay, we will see this when we actually do the export. We can easily reproduce an exception. So there are a few questions here. There is no checkpointing logic. Hemant is asking, it's a Hemant only. For sqoop, suppose my cluster goes down, then if we can see what was successful, etc. Unless everything is done, you will not see the data in the target directory. It will be marked as failed, and you will see probably will see empty directory over there, but you will not have any data. The job has to be successful to see the data in the target location. Okay, typically it will not directly copy the to the location where you have specified as target directory. Within the target directory, while it is running, there will be a staging directory. It will copy once the entire copy is done. Let me show you how this MapReduce works. In the sqoop import again, and I'm launching one more Sigwin here, Sigwin session. Let me get my password. Okay. So I'm going to run this, and first let us. This is warehouse directory, and our table name is. Our table name is stocks_EOD. Okay, so let's take this path. Control insert. Hadoop ss-ls. Shift insert. And then stocks_EOD. Okay. So now I'm running this one. So now the job is starting, and let's see what is there in that location. You can see there is a directory called _temporary while it is running. It is still running. Still it is showing here _temporary. So actually it is copying to that location. So let me, probably it might have done by now. Okay, it is deleted, that's why it is saying no such color directory, because it is done. Now if I run the failure command, we can see there is a marker file _success. You can see size as 0. It's just a marker file to confirm that the import is successful. As the final step, it will move the files from this _temporary into the actual location that has to be copied, and then the temporary will be deleted. So if anything goes wrong, what will happen? It will just delete the temporary. It will not create the data. So until the job is successful, you will not see the files here. After copying all these files, then it will actually create this _success. Okay. So this marker file will confirm that it is successfully done. It's the chances of having partial results when we run MapReduce jobs are very, very remote. It's not that easy to reproduce that scenario. Okay, so now again, Amit, the question is, I imported one table from MySQL which went to default location and then tried to import my own database, but still exist. Yeah. So as I have mentioned at the time of Hive import, first it will stage into your home directory. For example, if I'm trying to do a Hive import on this stocks_EOD table, it will try to create a directory with the table name. First it will copy the data over there, then it will do the load into Hive. After sqoop import is done, or for whatever reason, if there is a directory user dgather stocks_EOD, the Hive import will not delete the existing one, but it will try to use your home directory to stage the files as part of your Hive import, because there is a directory which is conflicting with your sqoop import command. it is failing. So the remedy is you have to delete that directory from your user space or home directory in HDFS, Hive import, and it will go without any issues. You can try that. Just delete. You can actually give your lab ID. I will look into that issue. Give me your lab ID. Hello, Amit Kumar. Give me your lab ID. Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you. So now I am logged in as it was. Then I am running Hadoop /ls user Amit Kumar. So you said you were trying to copy customer details. So first thing is, it is not good practice to copy tables as part of sqoop import into your user space. First thing what you have to do is you have to create a directory which has some context to it. For example, here we are trying to copy data from retail_db. So better will be to run Hadoop fs mkdir user Amit Kumar retail_db. Now you have that directory. Now you can say Hadoop fs-mv. So now, as long as you have these files, these directories with name conflicting with your table names when you are trying to do Hive import, it will fail. You have to move these things to some other location. In this case, I am trying to move it to the retail_db. Okay. So like this, move all the tables into retail_db. Now, if I say now order items is here, it will not be here anymore. Now, if you want, you can import order items. So I will highly recommend to copy all of your files using this command, or all the tables which are imported earlier, so that these directories will not come in our way when you try to perform the Hive import. Is it clear, Amit? If you still have any questions, let me know. I will clarify before I move forward. Okay. So now, is everyone clear about how to troubleshoot the issues? You have to go to the task level logs to make sure that if it fails for whatever reason, you should see this see that information here. We will reproduce the scenario at the time of sqoop export, then it will be clear for you. Okay. So now we will go to the next topic, which is sqoop export. Again, I am going to sqoop user guide here. Or we can also say sqoop help export, and you will be able to understand. You will be able to get the syntax. So here you can see common arguments are same. You should be familiar with connect, username, password, -P, which are the most frequently used arguments among the common arguments. And then the control arguments. Okay. Control arguments say how your export should run. So while importing, we are either specifying warehouse directory or target directory to specify the path to which data needs to be copied. Here we are trying to read the data, and the directory we specify from which data has to be read has to be specified under -- export directory. So sqoop import is always used to copy data from relational databases, Hive tables. Sqoop export is the other way around, to get data from HDFS right into underlying database. Okay, export directory is the HDFS path which we specify. And then num mappers is how many mappers you want to use. So here you should not relate the parallelism logic to the import. In import, it is actually issuing queries against the source database to get the data. As it is issuing queries, we have the flexibility of computing minimum, maximum, and get the mutually exclusive range of values using that min and max. Whereas with export will not run by querying the data which is in HDFS. It will not work in the same manner as import. We will see that little bit later. I will spend some time to cover num mappers. Did I start recording the video? I think no. Yeah, it's being recording. I just want to make sure. Okay, so we will see num mappers again, and table is the MySQL table to which we want to copy. Update key, update mode we will see later. And now let us try to write a simple export command. Okay, so first for that, again you have to make sure from which database from which directory in HDFS we are trying to export, and we need to understand the data format, and then based on that we have to come up with the sqoop export. So what is the delimiter field what is the default field delimiter in sqoop? Can you guys recollect? Delimiter in sqoop, it's comma. Okay, so as long as data in HDFS are delimited by comma, you don't need to specify fields terminated by at the time of sqoop export. Otherwise, you have to specify. Now let us see the data which we want to copy and create a table in MySQL and try to export into it. Okay, so here I want to database called retail_db, and I want to export orders. Okay, we have data like this. Okay. Now let me preview the data. Hadoop, FS, fail. Always recommend you guys to use Control Insert and Shift Insert for copy paste. Control C, Control V only works in Windows and probably in some Linux. But when you're using terminal like this, Control Insert and Shift Insert are the better commands. If it is Mac, it's a different story. But on all the Windows and Linux-based laptops, to copy paste on PuTTY or Linux-based terminals, you should use Control Insert and Shift Insert to copy paste. Okay, so here you can see the data. Data is delimited by pipe. Let us try to export this one. For that, I'm connecting to the MySQL as retail_dba user. Host name is nn01.itversity.com. Password is and run show databases. Okay, there are three databases here: retail underscore DB, retail underscore export, and retail underscore import. They have read-only plugin for DB. We cannot actually create tables. For purposes, I have created a playground export. So use that one. Okay. I think again there could be some issue with respect to my voice. My voice might be breaking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Is it clear? Yeah, I realize that. Pause for a moment and see if it gets better. How is it now? Okay. So create table, naming it as DG orders. Now it will be better, Ravindra. Or still not better? Okay, let me see. Is it better now, Ravindra? Better? Or anyone? Can you guys confirm that? Okay. I'm creating a table using CTAS. Structure with. Yes, you have to create in the underlying database. Otherwise, db.org. Okay, now the table is created. Select star from DG underscore orders. There is no data here. Now I want to export to this. Okay, so the syntax is same. It starts with sqoop, export, connect, ADBC, MySQL, university.com, 3306 is the port number. Here I am trying to export into retail export database. So I have to say retail underscore export. And then retail underscore DBA. Password, ITversity, and the minimum is the other two parameters which are required at the time of export is the export directory. It's under user T Gadiraju retail underscore DB orders. So from this, I want to copy the data. Then I have to give the table name. And this table name is a MySQL table for orders. Okay, and hit enter. So the default delimiter for scoop is comma, but our data have a pipe as delimiter, so it will fail. Meanwhile, let us copy this path. See here, it failed, but it didn't give any details here. To the server here by using that URL which is generated. The job is already completed. As to Kelly, I see out of 3 map tasks, 1 is failed and 2 is killed. Because 1 is failed 4 times, it to mark the job as killed job as failed job, it just killed the other 2 map tasks. Okay. So here, if you go to killed ones, of details. So Sunil, there is an issue with respect to the network. You might not be able to access this. If you cannot, then either you have to make sure that port is in Talon's firewall, or you have to check it from home. Okay. Anyway, here you can see failed as well as killed. If you go to killed, it will just say killed. It will not say any other because the task is not failed, right? You have to go to the failed task and then go to logs and then click there, click for the full log. Okay, I think this is not the one. Yeah, here itself it is showing. Even the full log should show. I don't know why it is not showing up in the full log. You can see the exception here. Okay. The exception is for input string. It actually gave the record also. It is not able to get the order ID, which is a numeric value, to import this data. Okay, so it is considering the entire thing as the default delimiter is comma. So that's where, if it is import, we have fields called fields terminated by and lines terminated by, right? Even for export, there are some similar arguments, but here we need to use input passing arguments. Our input is in HDFS, and we have to pass our input to match the sqoop import, so that sqoop import can be done. So as we are talking about formatting the input data which is in HDFS, we have to use input fields terminated by input escaped by, whatever is relevant for our purpose. In our case, we are only about the fields terminated by, because we are to close or escape anything. And also input lines terminated by new line character in our data set, and also as part of a sqoop, so we don't need to worry about it. Okay, so only thing is we have to specify input fields terminated by at the time of sqoop export. And now I am running the sqoop export again. Oh my god. Okay, both are struck. Create one more session. Okay, let me do it again. Copy password. Okay, now I am running sqoop export. Connect. KDBC, MySQL, nn01.itversity.com 3306. Okay, username, detail underscore TB. I have to give the database name also. I forgot to give the database name. I will take care of it. Password, itversity, export directory, /user /dgadiraju, detail underscore DB, orders, and table name is dg underscore orders, and then input fields terminated by, I think I can use, hit enter. It will fail because I didn't use. See, it is saying no database selected. Here I just have to okay, I have to say retail underscore export and hit enter. And hit enter. Now it will not can do the export. Now the export is done. First thing we need to make sure is it is copied to the table which is intended to be copied. So -u retail underscore DB. We can use also use sqoop eval. MySQL client is not available. Host name is nn01.itversity.com. Password is itversity. Use retail underscore export count of 1 from dg underscore orders. And also we will preview the data. dg underscore orders limit 100. Okay, so you can see the data. It is copied properly. So this is how you can do the sqoop export. Now you need to understand how this export being done. So there is a question from Sunil. While exporting data from HDFS, say for example, there is a primary key in MySQL table, have duplicates and nulls. Did it take? A very good question. it will fail. Okay. So I will get into those details probably as part of tomorrow's class. In both the scenarios, it will fail. To understand how to get delta while performing sqoop export. Okay, those things also we need to think through, and we will see those things. And also, I didn't cover some of the real-time challenges when it comes to sqoop import. I will cover those things as well as the challenges which you might encounter at the time of sqoop export once I cover these syntax and semantics of these commands. Okay. I'm exiting here. Now first let us understand how the sqoop export is done. For that, let us go here. And if you try to read the output, initially here also it is actually querying the table in MySQL. And the purpose of this is to get the column names and all those things, column names, data types, etc. So that it can actually create a Java file similar to sqoop import. So the steps are same until here. At the time of sqoop import, if you recollect, it applies that select min and max logic, and then it will determine the splits to split the data into mutually exclusive data sets. While doing the import, which it requires a primary key column to get the min and max values automatically, or you have to set split by clause. You have to set the column name by split by clause to split the data into mutually exclusive data sets for the import purpose. Import purpose. Okay. Here it is using the HDFS features. Okay, because when it comes to data in HDFS, we cannot query the data, we cannot apply the where condition, there won't be any indexes and all those things to get the min and max. To get the min and max itself, it will take very long time. Hence, instead of using that the approach similar to the relational database, it uses the HDFS features. So how HDFS will store the data? HDFS will actually divide the files into HDFS and MapReduce features. First, let us talk about the HDFS. HDFS primarily copies a large file into blocks. And in our case, we have the deck of cards, right? Large deck, which is around 66 MB. If you go to the metadata details, 66 is copied into 7 or 8, I guess 7 blocks. Of size 128 MB, and last one will be left over. 6 or 7 blocks will be there. That's how the data will be stored in HDFS. And when we try to run MapReduce on top of it, what it will do? It will use a concept called split, and that split size is by default 128 MB. As there are 7 blocks in the file, for that file, there will be 7 mappers to process the data. Okay, so it uses that feature depending upon the HDFS and MapReduce features. It will try to determine the number of mappers. Here also number of mappers are 4 by default, and then in some cases it might use and we will understand how this number of splits are computed. Trying to export orders. Okay, so first we need to see the size of the orders. ls user p Gajiraju retail underscore db. Okay, there are orders. We have to pass orders also here. And if I hit enter, there are 8 files, right? And each one of them is only 600 KB. These 4 are 600 KB, this is around 100 KB. And also there is a command to get the size of this entire directory. Anyone can recollect what command we can use to get the size of this directory? I didn't cover as part of the training so far because it is not very important when it comes to copying the files and reading the files. But I'm just trying to understand if you actually explode other commands. Anyone, can you guess how we can get the size? Someone said DFS. DFS is not correct. DFS is alias in Hive for Hadoop FS. DF will give the free storage. DF is not, you are very close, but DF is not the right answer. Yes, DU is the right command. So it's very easy to remember. DF is for disk free. So it will actually give the free storage. DU is for disk used. Okay, that's why we have to use DU, which will give the usage of a given directory. Mahesh and Sunil have answered the question. So Hadoop FS -du. I want to summarize the entire directory. So there are some control arguments for DU. What is the control argument I should give to summarize at the directory level? H is for human readable. It does not summarize. S is for summarizing. And -h is for readable. Okay. And then we can control insert, shift insert the directory and hit enter. It is just 2.9 megabytes file. Here, and all of them are much lesser than 128 MB, which is the block size. So if you run HDFS FSCK command on that directory, because we are trying to process this directory. So on that directory, if we run HDFS FSCK, which will get us metadata, you can say files and blocks, which will give all the blocks related to that file. So for each and every file, there is one block. Okay. The default behavior in MapReduce is to use 8 mappers to process this data, so that one block is mapped to one map task. Okay, but there is something called combined file input format, which is used by sqoop internally. Because of the combined file input format, we can actually tweak the split size to play with a number of mappers to process the data. So in this case, we have 8 blocks, and but only 2.9 MB. So using three mappers for 8 blocks is not a good practice. All the 2.9 MB data should be processed by one mapper. For that, we can use num mappers as one. So here I am running export again with num mappers. Okay, that is the sqoop capability to control number of mappers based on the value you are passing here. Even if you are trying to export a 1 GB worth of data with number of mappers as 1, the entire 1 GB will be considered as one split like this, because we are enforcing num mappers to be 1, and it will only use one for the entire data. If you have 1 GB of data, it will process with number of mappers as 1, your split size will be 1 GB. Okay. If you have 4 number of mappers as 4, which is default, to export 1 GB worth of data, your split size will be 256 MB. So all those things will be taken care internally by sqoop. If you have 10 GB worth of data, and still if you are using only number of mappers as 4, then your split size will be 2.5 GB. The performance issues will creep in. So you need to understand not only the data format, but also data size, and you have to specify the number of mappers at the export time to process the data in efficient manner. Okay, how sqoop export works. If you have any question with respect to num mappers and split size, let me know. I will explain again. But it is very, very important to understand how sqoop export actually work to export the data based on num mappers. The logic is significantly different from sqoop import, where yeah, at the time of sqoop import, we can issue queries on the data. So we can get min and max and then apply the split logic to split based on the number of mappers. Whereas when it comes to export, as we cannot actually touch the data, the parallelism is driven by the file and file sizes, not the actual data. Okay. So in this case, if it try to process this 2.9 MB data with 3 mappers, each one will copy all the eight files will be distributed by 3 mappers. Probably 3 of them might be processed by one mapper, and 3 other files might be processed by one another mapper, and 2 of them might be processed by the third mapper. Because the volume is very low, the files are of very small size. It actually uses only 3, even though the default is 4. Okay. So any question here with respect to sqoop export? We will continue on sqoop export tomorrow also, and we will cover other control arguments. So far, we have seen input fields terminated by, but you should be able to understand all these fields at the time of sqoop export, even though they document output line formatting arguments at the time of export. They typically does not come handy for export. Typically, these are important when it comes to import. Okay, and then we need to understand the relevance of update key, update mode, input null string, input null non-string. These are important even for import. At the time of import, I did cover these 2 things. Also, null string, null non-string at the time of import, and also at the time of export, we use input null string and input null non-string, and the significance of staging table and clear staging table. These are the control arguments which you need to be familiar with. Of arguments, not many. Unlike sqoop import, where you have almost like 50-60 arguments, sqoop export have only 15-20 arguments, which by tomorrow. And then day after tomorrow, we will be covering the real-time issues, and then we will be wrapping up with sqoop. And starting from next week, we will get into Hive as part of the second half. Any questions here? Sorry for the glitches in between. I will try to take care of this issue as early as possible. If I come with a concrete resolution, but I'll be taking classes from this place. I will solution. Okay, I will give 15 seconds. If you have any question, if it is larger question, type it. Yes, Saurav, you have to check with to get the to get access to those ports. Ports are rm01.itversity.com. On that host, important ports are port is 19888. Okay, I'm typing in the chat so that you have it for reference, so that you can place the request. It will be good if you can get all the ports opened, so that you can also monitor when the jobs are being run. Okay, if you didn't get all the ports open for all the hosts I have on the cluster, access when the jobs are run. Okay. And then quick links. It is another port number. And then you also have to get nn01.itversity.com 50070. Important. On top of that, on wn01.itversity, wn02.itversity.com, wn03.itversity.com, you should get access to run all the ports. And there is another concept called SSH tunneling. Probably you can try that. If you can use SSH tunneling through gw01.itversity.com, you might be able to access the other ports. Okay, you can give a try on that also. SSH tunneling is the concept. You have to set up something called Foxy proxy, and then you have to take care of SSH tunneling, and then you will be able to access all the ports as long as the tunneling is going on. Okay, any other question here? Or you can spend some time from home just to go through the logs if there are any challenges from Tavan's side to open up those ports. Okay then, thank you very much. It seems there are no more questions. We'll catch up again tomorrow. We'll continue on Sqoop export. We'll try to wrap up Sqoop by this week. Okay, thank you. Bye. And those who are on YouTube live, thank you very much for attending today's session, and sorry for these technical challenges. We will continue wherever we have stopped today. And as I have been saying, if you need lab access to practice whatever I'm saying, go to labs.itversity.com, sign up with whatever, either social networking or local sign up. Once you sign up, you will see the plans. And the plans are $14.95 for 31 days, $34.95 for 93 days, and $54.95 for 185 days. Once you sign up, at the lab, on the lab page, you will get the credentials to the lab. You can connect to the lab either by clicking on Open Console, or by using Sigwin like I'm using, or by using PuTTY. You can start practicing without worrying too much about infrastructure. And the cluster configuration is, this is Ambari, so we are using Hotbox distribution. There are 7 nodes. We will be adding one more node very soon. Out of them, 3 are worker nodes. We have enough storage capacity. Each one of the nodes is 32 GB memory. Each one of them have 32 GB memory. 8 cores on each of these nodes. It's a state-of-the-art big data lab where you can actually get real world exposure of managing large volumes of data, running large MapReduce jobs, etc. And also by following my content and all, you can actually learn practice over this. And either you can give the certification, prepare for the interviews, or even you can execute the POCs as long as you have the backup of your data. Don't plan off your POCs on this without any backup plan, because if there is any issue on the lab, we might be cleaning up the data, or we might lose data accidentally. For all those practical purposes, if you want to do the POC, make sure you have the backup of your code as well as the data. Otherwise, we will not guarantee the data or code if there are any issues or unforeseen issues. We might even end up building lab again in case of some issues. For all those reasons, we will not be guaranteeing data. Okay, so be very careful if you want to do the POC. It's better for you to have a periodic backup of your data and code so that you can restart in case if there are any issues. Okay, that being said, if you like the content, please click on the like If you want to share with your friends, you can click on this and share within your network, and we can take it from there. Thank you very much. Bye.